Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be going back into some more Brawl, because while this Brawler's Guild Hall is around, I'm going to be taking advantage of it. So, today we're going to be playing a little bit of Chin Tickle, which is going to be a Narset of the Ancient Way Planeswalker Brawl deck. A Jeskai Planeswalker for 4 mana with 4 loyalty. The Tick Up allows you to gain 2 life, add any of the Jeskai colours, and then spend it only to cast non-creature spells, which our entire deck is. The -2, draw a card, then you may discard a card when you discard a non-land card this way. Narset the Ancient Way deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to target creature or planeswalker. So, you know, we've got a nice varying amount of damage here. You might also notice we've got Warrant Warden and Response Resurgence in here. Both sides actually perform reasonably well. Resurgence goes very well with like Sarkhan's Tick Up to give our planeswalkers an additional combat step, but it's also an early game removal spell. The fun part about Response Resurgence and Warrant Warden though is that the -2, when we discard a split card, the mana cost of this card is the combined mana of both of these. So in the case of Warrant Warden, that's 7 damage, and same thing goes for Response Resurgence as well. So it's a nice cheap spell in the early game that also allows us to deal 7 damage, essentially to kill planeswalkers with the -2. Finally, if we can get to the -6 on Narset, which is real easy, only has to go up twice and then come right back down, we get a, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this emblem deals 2 damage to any target. So we basically get a shock off of every single one of our spells, which is really good for board control and for cleaning out the game later on down the line as well. For opponents on a low life total, from all the shocks and whatnot, it's not going to take us too long just to cast things that are controlling the current board state while pinging our opponent at the same time. So the notable cards that we've got in here are Whirlwind of Thought, which I am all over this card right now. It's the reason why I wanted to play a Jeskai deck today. It's because this card is the hottest fecal matter that I've ever come across. It is so good. Jeskai and 1, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. So basically, our entire deck says draw a card, which means we never run out of card advantage as long as this card remains in play. So we remove a permanent from our opponent and we replace the spell that got rid of that permanent. We just keep on going. Not to mention the fact that we have like Narsets and Rals and Royal Scions already giving us like the card filtering and card selection that we really need to just have the answers to whatever we want. And obviously, a Jeskai deck without the Jeskai Ultimatum would be very weird. So, you know, draw 5, gain 5, deal 5. Seems pretty good to me. It's also a good discard target to Narset, again, to wipe the board. We've also got 1 board wipe in Realmcloak Giant, or Cast Off. The Cast Off being the 5 mana destroy, but also the 7 mana to deal 7 damage with Narset's really useful there. Other than that, though, I think it's pretty much just a Jeskai control deck, to be honest. We have a little bit of proliferation with Contentious Plan and Khan's Bastion to proliferate there, so it's really good to get an early Narset emblem. We're also running a Soul Guide Lantern as well, because just recently Nethroi decks, which is not going to show up because commander reasons, which is the Abzan Reanimator card, is very much based around the graveyard. So I've learnt my lesson about not having graveyard hate. We're going to have a Soul Guide Lantern in here just to take care of that matchup. We do kind of destroy our opponent's permanents to stop Nethroi mutating onto anything. We've also got Tail's Ends and things like that to prevent it as well. So we can buy some time while we're drawing a million cards to find that Soul Guide Lantern. And if we manage to exile our opponent's graveyard, I can't imagine a Nethroi deck really coming back from that. Because 9 times out of 10, whenever I've lost to Nethroi, it's been really good control in the early game, and then they just mutate and win. So if we can control really well in the early game, which I feel like we've got the power to do, we also have lots of burn spells like Blitz, Lava Coil, and Dragonfire, all of which actually exile the permanent that they destroy. Again, hating on Nethroi just a little bit there as well. If we can control our opponent's graveyard and the field at the same time, I just cannot see them really coming back from it, and we should be able to control the game. We've also just got loads of board wipes as well, so if they do manage to build up, then we can Shatter the Sky, Time Wipe, Realmcloak Giant, Clarion, whichever one we want to do. Anyway, that's probably going to do it for the deck tech portion. We've got some basics in here, we've got some non-basics in here. Mana base is honestly Very easily set up to make sure that Field of the Dead actually works, so we've got that in here. I am considering cutting a couple of colourless lands though after today's videos, because I think maybe a double island is probably something we want. I do have Castle Vantress in here as an extra non-basic. Maybe I just don't need it in at all, to be honest, but I think maybe just cutting like a Cryptic Caves for that second island might actually just be better. I'd probably actually suggest doing that, but for today's video, this is what the deck list is going to look like. Anyway, if you enjoy it, make sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button below the video or check out the Patreon link down in the description below. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, we're in, and we got the best card in our deck for this matchup, Soul Guide Lantern, so I think we're just going to keep this hand and see how we get on. We've got Temple of Enlightenment as well, so we can cast Narset with the Interplanar Beacon, and hopefully find some red mana as well for everything else. Teferi Time Raveler, a solid pickup as well. I think because we need specifically red mana, and we've already got 2 lands here, I'm going to put that land to the bottom. I'm in no rush really to play that. Alright, so Maya Triton. I don't exactly know if we want to be throwing this out when we... when our opponent can deal with it. I mean, it does really hose our opponent's thing, but they haven't got anything in there for the enter the battlefield right now, so... I'm not necessarily seeing a reason to play that over just holding open the Tail's End. Corpse Churn. Alright, so there's a Rotting Regisaur. Although that doesn't particularly go well with the 10 power or less on Nethroi. So I imagine they want to just pull that back to their hand. And then I'm going to need to answer that, actually. Did they leave it there? They did. Oh. Fascinating. Okay, well... yeah, I think I'm just going to Teferi and bounce the Maya Triton. Like, it fills up their graveyard, but we're going to empty it anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. I'll just take the card draw. Ral, is it Viceroy? Yeah, because I really need to find that 4th land. We were kind of betting on it, to be honest. There's Maya Triton again. Wow. The one time I have actual removal for what my opponent's doing, and I just cannot for the life of me, or they cannot for the life of them get anything in their graveyard, should I say. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna raise and borrow the Maya Triton to keep my Teferi alive. And then I've got Narset to come down or something like that. We'll see. So they should go to combat first to get me to interact with the Maya Triton. Instead, they're going to pre-combat it so that it does nothing. Okay. Let's tick up to Fairy.
Let's try this.
And I think we just Narset. Tick up Narset. Oh, tick up Narset, I think. It's got to be down, actually.
By bringing its traditions into the future.
Yeah, tick down Narset. I was thinking tick up for Soul Guide Lantern, but it's not really a thing. So I'm going to put the crystal into the graveyard and 3 this Necropanther. Play the mountain, and now we've got Soul Guide Lantern as well. Let's exile... it's Fabora Elder, which is a 0. Yeah, okay. It's the last time I'm losing to a Nethroi deck. Graveyard hate for days. Alright, well, next game. Alright, we're in, and we're up against a Kenrith deck. So, I think this hand's okay. It's not nice to have two colourless sources, but we do have a castable Dovin's Veto, and a blue source means Narset. And we got Warrant to protect as well, so it's not too bad. So for those who do not know what Kenrith does, 5 mana 5/5. We'll get to it in a second. Just you wait. Yeah, let's just go with Windscarred Craig to lead off. 5 mana 5/5. It has many activated abilities for this legendary creature. The pay 1 red gives trample and haste until the end of the turn. That's a nice pickup. Tail's End. 1 and a green puts a 1/1 counter on a creature. 2 and a white gains 5 life. 3 and a blue draws a card. And 4 and a black reanimates a creature under its owner's control. Opponent with Dawn of Hope. I think I will veto that. I don't have an answer to it immediately, and honestly, they could do literally nothing, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. So we'll just get rid of that. Shocking. Interesting. Alright, well, I'm just going to go Cryptic Caves and pass, because clearly they've got Counter Magic up, and it's the most blatantly obvious instant speed spell I've seen. Sphinx's Insight, okay. Sure. Well, do they go land Kenrith? I doubt it. My doubt was correct. Alright, well, I'm going to go Field of Ruin, because it just allows me to fix this colourless nonsense that we've got going on here. But I can also leave open Tail's End as well, so I'm pretty happy with that. Alright. So we're going to let them do their scry, and then we're going to ruin it with Field of Ruin on the Triome. Or not, because priority was not mine ever. Okay. I guess I should have hit full control mode. Uro. Well, actually, no, let's not do that, because we can give our opponent extra mana to play with. I think that's fine. Got to end step the Field of Ruin, otherwise we give our opponent mana. Alright, so opponent's gonna crack the Revolving Wilds for an island, okay. And then we're gonna Field of Ruin their Triome on the end step and grab a blue source. No floating mana seems good to us. Yep, grab the island. We've got Soul Guide Lantern. Not going to be too useful here, unfortunately. So it looks like they're primarily trying to be a Bant deck with Kenrith, which is interesting. I can't play double blue spells and hold up in Tail's End, unfortunately, so I think I might just go with Narset here. See if they've got any counter magic. Yeah, no escape. Fine. Command zone. Bant control with Kenrith. Well, we still have Tail's End open, so it's not the end of the world. Oh, don't actually be Bant control. Don't ruin that game for me. Alright, let's get rid of Teferi. We've got more counter magic then, so be it, but seems they don't. And now they can play Uro, I guess. Draneth Magistrate. That's annoying. I think I might just go Soul Guide Lantern to kill Uro. And that resolves way too quickly for their own good, so... Actually, don't know if this was correct. Well, it didn't matter anyway. Yeah, because they could have gone... Well, they couldn't give haste because they don't have the red mana, I suppose. Alright, take one. Yeah, this card's really not the end of the world. I mean, they can't cast... Well, actually, no. Sorry. This is not one-sided. Ah, prison effects. I was going to say it's completely fine because they can't cast their commander either. But that's not how that works these days.
Phases of the moon, life waxes and wanes.
Okay, so they're going for Teferi, so I will eat their graveyard.
We will meet again.
Tamiyo's just so bad when you have to tick up in a singleton deck, which is fantastic for us. Alright, so now we've got Field of the Dead, which is going to start making us some zombies to not only protect our Narsets and whatnot, but also pressure their planeswalkers and whatnot. So I'm going to play Narset. They're going to have the 19th counterspell. Sure. What on earth is that terrible card? Loses all abilities. It's not actually that bad. It's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Alright, pass the turn. Will anything resolve next turn? Find out next time on My Opponent Doesn't Like Fun.
I noted this somewhere.
So Tamiyo checks for Wilderness Reclamation. It's 19 million counterspells. Why you no play Kenrith? Scorching Dragonfire. So Tamiyo's pretty awful, to be completely honest. So I'm not really that interested in making sure she's dead right now, since I can actually just take her down to 1 and then down to 0 when she ticks up again, blindly naming something that she probably won't hit.
No one asked for your input.
So they let all that go, which probably means I can get away with a Whirlwind of Thought. Come on, Whirlwind. Christ for that, something resolved. They've got some... Oh, they've got Vantress. And Brazen Borrower. Okay. Okay, it never ends. Band control, everyone. Well, they do have the Rogrin Triumph, so they do have actually access to the red mana for haste. Alright, so if they can't take care of this token, then Tamiyo's dead, and yep, terrible deck. Fell flat, I guess. Cool. Awesome. It's a mean deck, opponent. It's mean, and you should feel bad. To each his own. Next game. Alrighty then, we're in. And I like this hand, minus the fact that it doesn't have any red mana for Narset. But Contentious Plan on Narset can really get us to that ult real quick. I'm going to keep this one. Say hello to our opponent, since they were polite enough to say hello to us. And introduce their commander, Ayara, first of Lochthwain. A 3 mana 2/3. We're just going to go Tranquil Cove tapped. 3 mana 2/3. When Ayara or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. You can also sacrifice another black creature to draw a card. So that is our opponent's commander showcased. Basically, we want to kill everything. That's the idea. I think I might just actually throw down the Contentious Plan. I don't know if I care too much about the Proliferate on Narset, because I don't think she's getting there anytime soon. The likelihood is that she'll be coming down, taking a huge beating, and then hopefully leading us into the cast-off here. That's kind of how I foresee this going. So do I want to hold up and veto and Tail's End? We've got 4 mana. They could play Prankle, I don't care about. What other thing could they do? There's a few nasties, I suppose, but let's just get the clock going. Clock's something that they'll not really have a way to deal with. and it can be inevitable. This allows me then to do the cast off next turn, so even if they did have something real big here, that it just wouldn't do anything. Nothing too meaningful anyway. So it looks like they're thinking about sacking the Scorpion. Ooh, Erebos. Whoa. Alright, that's one that I would have tails ended, I suppose. It's not the end of the world, though. What do you minus to? You minus to a 2. So I could minus with the Beacon Bolt on Aara. Then Erebos goes down by... They need 3 pips. They could probably do that quite easily, to be honest. I think I might just Temple, hold up, and my spells. It's like I could put Erebos on top. Yeah, I'll take a Field of the Dead. Erebos on top with Warrant when it attacks. And then I've also got Veto and Tails End to play around with. Interesting. Going for the card advantage and the extra damage. Fair enough. So I got my choice of 3 2-mana spells here. Probably going to cast 2 of them this turn, I have to imagine. There's Prankle. Yeah, we get hit by Erebos. It might be okay. I'm just going to Prankle it. Tails End it. And then should I Warrant the AR as well? Pretty much like slows them down to no end, which I kind of like. Let's put that on top of their library or in the command zone. So it either costs 5 or they don't have a draw next turn, essentially. They're going to choose to draw. So let's see. If I played Cryptic Caves, that would be colorless, blue, white, red. That would allow me to hold up and veto. And we'll tick up as well. Even though there's nothing we can do with it. Start trying to grow towards this emblem. This is where I wish that I'd held on to my contentious plan, but... You know, I think that's fine. So now they could... Yeah, go Aara. Takes Erebos up to 4. I could Beacon Bolt Narset out of the way. Let's go reds. Colorless. Give Aara a bit of the bacon. And now we're set up to ult Narset with veto backup. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't really matter what land we play here, but let's just hold the Field of the Dead for now. No reason to show them that. This also allows me then to veto plus Midnight Clock activation, rather than the tap land, which would just allow me to do one or the other. Command the Nope. Now their commander is in their graveyard permanently, because they assumed that would resolve. And that should mean that they explode anytime soon. I'm probably not going to take my chances. I think I'm just going to ult Narset now. Send her to the command zone. And then just replay her. Trigger Narset, ping her opponent. And it's time for Field of the Dead. Tick up Narset. Work towards that ult again if we want. We're going to have 7 cards once the Midnight Clock hits 12. Which could be next turn if we want it to. So how do they suppose they get back their commander now? It's one of the risks when you put your commander in the graveyard. Ooh. Liliana's pretty good.
Effective.
But I do have the minus with Realm Cloak Giant to kill her. The giant itself is 7 mana. So I guess we do that.
Then act.
7 on Liliana.
Well, this was unpleasant.
Inspired Ultimatum. We're gonna go with the Royal Scions. Ping the zombie token with Narset's passive. Opponent can pay life if they want. It's gonna be quite uncomfortable.
I appreciate clean victories.
Style doesn't hurt.
So then we'll go with a draw and discard. I mean, we're gonna be drawing new cards anyway. Yeah, with the midnight clock on their turn, so we'd have 7 new cards. We wouldn't be using this ultimatum. And I can't remember if our graveyard goes back in with this thing, but we might have Beacon Bolt being lost there as well. But I'm pretty sure if we just shock ourselves, we can hold up and 5 mana to essentially, you know, just do whatever we want with our 7 cards and win. Our opponent made a huge mistake putting the AR in there. They basically had a bet that we didn't have counter magic, which obviously we did. If we hadn't, though, I think we still had a pretty decent shot, but they would have had a really, really good board we'd have to fight through. I guess Liliana was after the Command the Dreadhorde, so I would have probably Realm Cloak Giant all of their stuff, but they would have got some pings, they would have had Erebos active, probably been able to attack, so it would have been a nice little bit of an edge they'd take on us, but I think we'd be okay. I don't know. Next game. Alrighty then, we're in, and I think this is a free mull. I just don't like the mana base here. It's basically 2 tap lands, so yeah, let's throw that one back. This one looks a lot nicer. We can actually cast loads of our stuff, and we got board wipes and deafening clarions and all that sort of stuff for our opponent's commander. Our opponent's commander is Winota, Joiner of Forces. I'm sure most of you, if you've been playing Standard, know what this one is by now. We'll get to it in just a moment. Let's just go Roger and Triumph past the 10. Winota, Joiner of Forces is a 4-mana 4/4. When a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library, and you may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It gains indestructible. So what our opponent's wanting to do is fill the board full of non-humans, and from there, Winota is going to be triggering on turn 4 to make that a reality. That Tide Taker is very annoying, admittedly, because that means that there is a non-creature coming down. So these are soldier tokens, it should be noted. I think it actually benefits me more just to Clarion now, because they've got 2 triggers here, but they only have 1 trigger if I Deafening Clarion and kill the Tithe Taker. From there, I'm going to have to get a little bit lucky with removal, I think. Yeah, I just have to blow up the board here. Just really hope they don't have, like, a God's Willing. Alright, so they've got 1 non-human, which means they get to look at the top 6 and see if they find a human. It's a good chance they whiff here. They did. Fantastic. Alright, and from there, I guess that means I could go Narset, kill Winota. Narset goes to 1. So gain life off the beacon, and yeah, our opponent, in the shortest ever Winota game, just decides it's not worth it. So yeah, that's the best way to actually deal with a Winota deck, is to have early game removal. Essentially just kill everything before Winota comes down. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to do depending on your deck, but if it's not something your deck can do, then it's just going to be a bad matchup for you and as a whole. But yeah, you really just kind of want wipes and removal to beat a deck like this, and I think our opponent realizes that that is exactly what our deck is. So I guess we got time for one more, because that was extremely short and fulfilling. Wowee, this could be an interesting one. And this is an interesting hand. It's technically got all the colours of mana, so we get to go Arcane Signet on 2 on the draw as well, so another land wouldn't be too bad, which basically means any card in our deck is going to be decent. We're up against Brokkos, Apex of Forever, a Sultai 6/6 commander for 5 with Trample, and you may mutate it from the graveyard using its mutate ability, which means it doesn't have to pay commander tax, just so long as you've got something to mutate it onto, then you're all good. I think I'm going to throw Evolving Wilds back. Our Arcane Signet can be our white mana. So I'm likely just to go Field of Ruin, Signet, and then Shock Steam Vents for Narset. I'm not entirely sure just yet. Ooh, Mountain. Alright, well, prefer the coloured sources, to be honest. I don't think we're likely to mana screw our opponent with a Field of Ruin, especially this early, so... Glimmer Bell. Oh my. What's the, It's an equip 2 on that thing? Okay, so... They can make it a 2/4. I can kill it with a response. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do? I guess it's just pass and kill everything? I don't know. Yeah, let's just get Narset down. I'm kind of wondering about, like, trying to keep her at a high loyalty, you know, but... So we can get to the ult quicker, but I think this is fine. Just don't Questing Beast me. The one time I don't want you to do it is right now. Yeah, dealing with a 6/6 is going to be troublesome. We need to really find our board wipes and whatnot for that. Alright, let's see where they go. So they have to really send it a Narset, because otherwise she's going to tick up to 6, and then I'm going to be able to protect her. And the likelihood is that she actually straight up just never dies from that point forward. Okay, so... Again, we're going to tick up with Narset. We're going to go with blue. And I think it's just going to be a... Firemine's Research here. Could be Royal Scions. We're really pushing our luck with that Questing Beast. After yesterday's Forerunners debacle. I'm really not trying to say that one-offs can't just appear out of nowhere. But I really don't care to kill Glimmerbell all that much, to be honest. It's just one of those things. I think maybe just going wide with our walkers is probably a better idea. Let's get rid of the colourless land. Starting to wonder if I've got a few too many, honestly. Alright, so there's Brokkos. Yeah. Which walker do you want to kill? I'm gonna go with the Royal Scions. Alright, well, let's kill Brokkos.
Strike with a cunning mind.
Boop. Oh, didn't see that one coming, did ya? Got him. Alright. From there, we're in a lot of trouble. Gonna put it out there. Let's just do Whirlwind of Thought. I'm gonna need to be digging for answers real soon. So, Brokkos can always mutate from the graveyard, except for they put it back in the command zone, which is really weird. Don't understand that particular line, but to each his own, I suppose. I'm sure I've made questionable lines in my time, but... Now we just need to make sure that everything dies while we're maintaining card advantage here, so... Like this Farfinder needs to die, for example. We keep paying the 1 and floating. I guess they just don't want to deal with priority. I don't know. Oh! What happened there? Explain to me why I just lost, chat. Explain that one to me. Okay. We'll move on with our lives. We'll pretend that didn't happen and we're not gonna completely lose. I guess we'll Elspeth Conquers Death. But, I mean, it's a Brokkos with lifelink, trample, and vigilance, so goodbye Narset, I guess. Yeah, if I could have killed this Farfinder, we wouldn't have exactly this problem right now. Kill Bone Crusher Giant, kill Narset. That's just unbelievable. Welcome to Magic the Gathering Arena, where it's completely balanced and not in early access at all. Hey, floating mana again. Love doing that. So, I guess I'm just gonna ECD. Draw a card. Shatter the Skies, not too bad. So we could still come back from this. I guess I should have gone Rogrin Crystal first, but yeah, well. Eddie well. We're kind of building up that Beacon Bolt value though, so I like that. Do I cycle this crystal or do I use it as a draw spell? They got their Triome. And just gonna hard cast Brokkos. Alright. I think I'm gonna cycle the Triome. Banishing Light. And Time Wipe. Love all of this. Okay, so I could do Narset Tick Up Banishing Light. That draws me 2 cards. Warrant Warden, not too bad. Tick Up for white. And that gives me Banishing Light. And a Narset. Nice. Alright, slowly getting into this game. And we win. That's all it took, apparently. Yeah, weird. I'm going to have to look at one back up. I don't know if it was like a weird misclick that I overlooked, or if the game just kind of freaked out all of a sudden, but yeah, just decided to play my Bone Crusher Giant. I'm going to look back and I'm going to figure out that I kind of had a brain fart moment and I'd already cast the Stomp and the only option was indeed the Bone Crushing, but I don't think it is. I don't think I'm that bad. I'm usually somewhat that bad, but not that bad. Anyway, that'll do it, I guess. If you guys enjoyed today's video, then be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I'm going to open up a pack because I think it's all lit up. Yes, it is. Look at that. Beautiful. Doesn't matter what that is. All that matters is the Ikoria pack. It's got a wild card and the Ozolith. Okay. I want to build around that at some point. I don't know what I want to do with it, though. I think it's more of a Pioneer card, so probably going to see that later on in the year if Pioneer does come out on time, but who knows with all the stuff that's going on these days. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, all that jazz, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.